Guys, I have not been this excited in a very long time. I got something that I've wanted since I was a teenager. We're going to talk about a grail knife that has followed me from high school to adulthood, and I finally got one. Cold steel taipan. So let's turn this around and look at this thing from above. All right, guys, I'm filming this part before the actual intro outro because it is too hot to be facing the camera. It's 102 degrees in the studio right now. So I am over the moon. It is hard to contain my excitement about having this knife. And if it wasn't for my buddy Rich, who had a bunch of points at Blade HQ that he's not using, I would not have this knife because I can't afford this knife right now. This is the Cold Steel Sanmai 3 Taipan. This knife has been around for a very long time. I remember seeing these in catalogs and outdoor magazines when I was a kid. This was an amazing knife that I always wanted. And it has to be my all-around favorite dagger I've ever seen. It's got this Asian-inspired look to it, but it's a double-edged dagger. Now, this is the iconic Cold Steel dagger. This thing is done beautifully. It tapers down to a spear point blade, which means that this is a little bit more robust than a lot of other daggers on the market that are these double hollow grind. Now, this is a double hollow, so you do have a lot better cutting capability on this than you would a regular dagger that's just, you know, flat ground from that center ridge. So this one is in Sanmai, VG10 Sanmai. 7.5-inch blade, 5.5-inch handles, little over 10.5 ounces overall. This thing is great. These Kraton handles that they use are some of my favorite rubberized handles. I'm not a big fan of rubberized handles unless they're done well, and Cold Steel always gets it right. These feel sticky, but they're not. It's not like there's a residue or anything on that. They just stick in your hand. They're really impregnable to oil and things like that. They're great. This thing has a full tang and a striking pommel on here that is ground down, and you've got a lanyard hole here so you can strike with that. You've got this beautiful bolster with this cross guard here, and then when you come up you can see the actual laminated steel. Now this is VG10 and it's probably sandwiched with what typically is 420J. Now this is not a little knife. Like I said, you're looking at 13 inches overall length on this, so it's not a small knife. So it might not be what you're carrying or want to carry, but this is incredible, and it's very functional for what it was designed for. This is a fighting knife. This is meant for fighting and combat. You've got this beautiful piercing blade, nice and long, but you also have got double edges, which, as Lynn Thompson said, that's what inspired him to do it, was he got into fighting knives. You can back cut and forward cut, so you can cut both directions. It's dangerous on both sides. And then, as opposed to a lot of other daggers that are out there, this has a very robust tip. It comes down more spear point, which gives it a definite unique look. It looks aggressive. And it is. It's beautifully done. Now, Metal Complex did a video here recently, and that's part of the reason I even have this. It put it back on my radar. That he had some issues with the grind. I do not see issues with my grind. I measured it. It's consistent from side to side, except there is a slight sweep back. Can you see it here? Slight sweep back on this side, which at the very plunge, I gotta tell you, daggers are difficult anyway, but it does it on both sides. So you can see it's just that little bit there. Mine is consistent though on the edge from side to side, both ways. Measured it with my calipers. Beautiful grind on this that's exposing that lamination from the Sanmai. And just an overall gorgeous knife. And like I said, that Asian inspiration that you get gives it a unique look. It's a blade you wouldn't expect with a handle like that. It looks more like it should be a Tonto, but it's not, and it's gorgeous, and I love how this thing feels. I've always wanted one of these. Now, there is something I do have to address with how this was delivered. So let's go ahead and pull out the box and some of the stuff that came with it. Well, not necessarily the box, but we need to address something. So this is the sheath. This is not the sheath it came with. This is an old school Taipan sheath that Cold Steel used to deliver with their knives. It's on loan to me from Winston Cobretti, the guy that got me the Ironfly knife for my birthday, and a bunch of other stuff. This is how they used to come. And while this is not a perfect sheath by any long stretch because of how it sits, it does sit really high. I've been carrying it to see how I like it. This is something that I would want more along the lines with the sheath that came with it. but I can't ever use the sheath that came with it. Well, I could, but I choose not to because Cold Steel no longer offers the option to have a leather sheath with this knife. You're stuck with the Secure-X, and we've talked about Secure-X before. This will F up your knife. I almost dropped an F-bomb, still may, but these are horrible for your knives. This knife has never been in this. So Winston loaned me this so I could actually carry it. But in all honesty, this would be better because the knife would sit down further. Now, I did order a sheath from Harry Savage. When it shows up, we'll do a review on that. It's more of a drop style holster, but drop style sheath like this. But this is the sheath that they come with. And Cold Steel, please. I've said it. Scab said it. Donnie B all day has said it. Everyone else in the knife community has said it, and you continue to do it. Stop using this fiberglass reinforced Secure-X. Every time you put your knife in it, you're going to scratch the crap out of it, which happens with Kydex, which is why I ordered a leather sheath. It's going to scratch. But the problem you have with the Kydex is this dulls your knife every time you put it in. And I don't want to have to resharpen this. I don't like sharpening daggers. It's like sharpening two knives, and you got to be extra precise. This is not a good sheath. This isn't great either, but at least at one point on their expensive knives, Cold Steel sent these with it. But let's go ahead and let's take another look at this knife because I'm absolutely in love with it. I love this knife, and it's not so much that this knife will ever be functional. This will probably, like I said earlier, probably wind up in a display of some sorts, but it is absolutely something I have always wanted. And it just appeals to the teenager that's still down in there. You guys know, when you get a knife that you've wanted for years. I've wanted these since, like I said, before I ever even joined the Navy, while I was in high school, in the 90s, in the early 90s. Because, guys, I was in Japan in 93 in the Navy, so that should put it in perspective. I've always wanted one of these. Just a love affair that I've always had, and I cannot tell you, I'm ecstatic. I'm over the moon to have this here, and I'm not gonna lie, around the house like a goofball. I've been wearing this on my belt just because I love it. So, guys, just a quick video. I just thought this would be fun. Oh, I absolutely love it. It inspires something in you. It's just gorgeous. It's not just that it's, you know, it's not just that it's aggressive and it's a fighting knife. And I grew up in the 90s, in the 80s, I should say, when things like this were really cool and always in movies. But it is absolutely, it just, something inside you just wants this knife. So not to pontificate any further, is it a yup? Yeah, it's a yup all day. I wish I'd bought one sooner. God, I'm an idiot for not getting one when they still had the original sheaths. Would have saved me some money. So guys, let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. All right, guys, thanks for coming along with me on this quick, just little love fest with this. This knife has represented something I've wanted. It just represents everything cool in the knife community, going all the way back to the 90s when I was in high school, and just I've always wanted one of these. So big shout out to my buddy Rich for letting me use his points over at Blade HQ to get this, since he's not using them. He has a ton of them. And Winston Cabretti for letting me borrow this sheath. He sent it along with a package on my birthday, showed up on my birthday, so I can actually carry this amazing knife, even though I probably shouldn't. So guys, there you go. That's it. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. Thanks for joining me on this one. You know that there's a bunch of affiliate links down below. If you want to pick one of these up, you can use my Blade HQ link down below. That's about the best place to get the Sanmai version. It's a $200 knife right now, so I think they're on sale. Like I said, all those links down below. Doesn't cost you anything extra. As a matter of fact, Coffee Brand Coffee, Temper Trail have discounts built into them, like a 10% discount when you use those links specifically. And I have a coupon code of crazysharp, all one word, that will save you 10% at Rosecraft Blades, Fair & Forge Knife Works, and KATSU Knives. I also have a membership down below if you guys are interested in supporting the channel that way. That's fine. Or you can drop super likes and things like that. But the membership's about the best way to go. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I'll see you in the next video.